Hi guys, this is Elena from We Learn to Share, and this is the 5th video of our review of the AP English Language and Composition Glossary of Literary and Rhetorical Terms. So if you haven't watched the 4 videos ahead, please go and watch them and come back. So now let's start with our first device, which is called a slant rhyme. So slant rhyme is something that rhymes like slantly, like slightly, okay? So it's like when a poet creates a rhyme, but the words do not rhyme exactly. They are merely similar. You can memorize it by saying that it is like slightly, slantly rhyming. So for example, I sat upon a stone and found my life has gone. You can see how the N words over here, stone and gone, are not exactly same, or they do not rhyme exactly, but they're merely similar as they both have the own sound endings in the end, right? So I sat upon a stone and found my life has gone. You can see how the end words are like nearly similar, okay? So for example, another example of slant rhyme could be poncho and crunchy, because you can see in the ends they're merely similar. Poncho, ch, crunchy, right? So like the words, two words like these could rhyme, slantly rhyme, and you call this a slant rhyme. And then the next, end rhymes. So end rhyme is when the last word of two different lines of poetry. This is when the last words of two different lines of poetry rhyme. So roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. Over here, you can see that's the end of a line of a verse, like in the final word, syllables rhyme. Blue and you, right? Roses are red, violets are blue, and then so are you, right? So blue and you, they both rhyme. So you call this an end rhyme. And always remember that, again, slant rhyme is something that slightly rhymes, that are merely similar. But an end rhyme is a rhyme that rhymes in the end, right? In the last word, and that's why you call it as end rhymes. Next, we're going to look at rhyme scheme. So it's like a pattern of a poem's end rhymes. And for example, the following lines have a rhyme scheme of A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. Let's read. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion shamed. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed, right? And you can see that alphabets from A to D is each matches each verses. So firstly, in the rhyme scheme of A, you can see that it ends with they, right? And also in another A, you can see that ends with may. So they and may are both are rhymes, right? It both ends with A, and you explicitly see how they rhymes together, like they and may. And also from here, you can see for B that temperate and dates both rhyme, right? They rhyme as they are ending with eight, right? Temperate and date. So you can see also in C over here that shines and another C declines. Shines, declines. And also in D, deemed and trimmed. So as you can see from this example, you can see how there are repeated rhymes, like and the types of rhymes like they and may or temperate and dates being mixed all together upon the poems. And then how these different types of rhyme also has patterns, as it is repeated A, B, and C, D, right? So you can see how the rhyme scheme is overall referring to the overall pattern of a poem's end rhyme, employing multiple of rhymes in the poem. Okay? And next, we're going to look at the stressed and unstressed syllables. So in every word of more than one syllable, one of the syllable is stressed, or said with more force than the other syllable. For example, in the word unhappiness, the second of the first syllable is stressed. And you could basically divide this word into 4 syllables as unhappiness, right? And you can see how the second, the hurt gets stressed. So that's why you say unhappiness, right? Instead of like unhappiness or unhappiness, right? You say unhappiness because the second of it is stressed. And that's what you call as the stressed and unstressed syllables. Now we're going to look at meter. Meter is like a regular pattern to the syllable in line of poetry. So meter is just like a regular pattern, right? And then over here, free verse. Free verse is a poetry that doesn't have much meter or rhyme. That's why you call it free. Like they're free from the rhymes and free from the meters. Yeah, you can memorize free verse as that. And then let's look at iambic pentameter. And this is kind of tricky because you guys need to understand well about the meters and stressing the syllables. So iambic pentameter is poetry that is written in lines of 10 syllables, alternating stressed and unstressed syllables. So to be more specific, penta over here means 5. So pentameter simply means 5 meters, right? 5 meters. So a line of poetry written in iambic pentameter has 5 feet, so 5 sets of stressed syllables and unstressed syllables. So putting these two terms together, iambic pentameter is a line of writing that consists of 5 sets, so 10 syllables in total. In a specific pattern of an unstressed or stressed syllable, right? And there are very, very different types of iambic pentameters in poetry. But you guys can just remember that iambic pentameters are notated using two symbols, this U shape and I shape. And then let's think of like your heart beating. You would say like da doom, you would say that it's beating, like your heart is beating as like da doom, da doom, da doom, da doom, da doom, right? And just memorize that this U part is the da part and this is the dum part. So for writing the iambic pentameter for this phrase, it would be U and then this, and then this, A, and then summer stay. So you will read this I, so da doom, da doom, da doom, da doom, da doom, da doom, like this, right? So if I have that pressure, that stressing in the syllables, it would be, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Right? So you could just understand that it's iambic pentameter is like written in line of 10 syllables that alternate stress and unstressed syllables, and it could be written as with these kind of syllables. And then next is a sonnet. So sonnet is a 14-line poem written in the iambic parameter, and it's usually divided into 3 quatrains and a couplet. So one thing you need to remember is that you should not confuse between these two. I've told you that pentameter, penta means 5, and you have 5 sets of meters. That's why you will have 10 syllables. So you can memorize that iambic pentameter has 10 syllables, lines of 10 syllables, while sonnet has 14, okay? Poem written in iambic parameter. Next, we're going to look at polysyndeton, which is when the writer creates a list of items which are all separated by conjunctions, okay? They're all separated by conjunctions. But normally, as we know, a conjunction is used only before the last item in the list, right? So you would say that if you have a list, you would say A, comma, B, comma, A, and C. So you would only have your conjunction and over here, like before, right before the last item. But polysyndeton is you have poly, right? Many. You use many conjunctions. You use all conjunctions to separate all list of items. So for example, of polysyndeton would be, I walked the dog and fed the cats and milked the cows. So normally you would say, I walked the dog, just comma, fed the cats, comma, and milked the cows. But in a polysyndeton, because you're separating all the items by conjunctions, you would say, I walked the dog, comma, and fed cats, comma, and milked the cows. Or over here, or if a soul touched any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of unclean cattle, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, he also shall be clean, right? So over here, you can also see how the conjunction or is being repeated over and over, like or, yeah. So you can see how polysyndeton is something really poly, something that uses many, many conjunctions to separate its list of items. And next is pun. So pun is when a word that has 2 or more meanings is used in a humorous way. The important part is that it's used in a humorous way. But puns do not always result in a sarcastic way, as it could also look as, I was steered by his cooking lesson. So usually in a cooking class, or when you cook something, you steer something, right? So if you say that I was steered by his cooking lesson, it's how you use pun. And another example of puns could be like, the cyclist was too tired to win the race. You can see how the cyclist was too tired, right, to win the race, but written as too tired because the cyclist would be cycling, would have tires, two tires, like a bicycle, right? So that's why this could also look as a pun. Or maybe when you say that this vacuum sucks, okay, it could either mean that it really sucks, so it's bad, like you don't like it, and this is like not well functioning. But it could also mean that because the original task of a vacuum is to clean up things and like suck the dust up, it could also mean in that way. So it's kind of also humorous to look at this, right? So this would be the end of the video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.